Hi and welcome. It's great that you're back with me, hopefully, on my second live stream. It's been a week since my last one, and yeah, it was great. Loved it. So glad to be continuing to talk. Had some great comments over the last week, so that's really important for me to gauge how it's going, gauge if it's useful information, and that's wonderful. My name is Neil Mandel. My company is Epic Activation. We are 15 years. Wonderful. I've got some drilling going on and I told them to stop at 1 o'clock and they are carrying on. So apologies if you hear that noise in the background. We've been running promotional campaigns for over 15 years. So I have a lot of experience to shout about, share information with you, and hopefully answer questions you may have. We often talk to agencies and brands, and they have a lot of the same questions, different challenges, and that's kind of where this has stemmed from, to help advise. And obviously, if there's a collection of these sort of streams, then you can look back and get answers to your questions. So that's fantastic. So we mainly work in the shopper marketing sort of arena. So, for example, a consumer would go into a supermarket, see a product, maybe one they are loyal to already, one they may have tried, one they haven't had before, and see a fantastic prize on offer. So they then go and buy that product and enter via a phone, via a tablet, via their laptop. It's all at the touch of their hand, and then find out if they win a prize. So basically the brands are engaging with the consumer, hopefully collecting information, and then communicating with them afterwards. So a typical example, and a little plug, plus I love the product anyway, is Weetabix. This is one of our campaigns, and yes, you can see these are the new packs that are transparent. Or the green screen doesn't quite work, basically. So you can see here, so this is a sort of typical product where you can go in and win. Hold it back, I think it works better, or it doesn't at all. You get the idea. And on the back, you've then got, on this particular design, you've then got a QR code here that you can scan and go to the website and enter the prizes. So that's your typical kind of shopper marketing experience. Obviously, there could be in-store POS, point of sale, attracting the consumer to the products on the shelves, or lots of different ways to market and promote in digital. And I'm sure lots of people have experience in those type of mechanics to attract people to the products on the shelves. We also work in automotive and white good companies. Actually got a couple of projects potentially on the go at the moment that are nothing to do with FMCG. So any product, any brand that wants to gain loyalty, customers, engagement, get them talking on social media is who we work with. So the format of these streams, hopefully I will keep it lively for you, is to talk about a subject of the day or the week, and then go into some kind of Q&A. So we have a question that I was given in the week, which is fantastic. Otherwise, I've got nothing to talk about. That's not true. I've got lots to talk about, but keeping it a bit focused. But what you can do is going to have, I've got Q&A on there. It started with Q&A. There you go. You can ask me a question in the chats on LinkedIn and YouTube, where we are hopefully now live, and they will appear in front of my screen, and I can then answer those questions for you. Well, let's hope I can. If you don't want to send it now, you can email me at a later date. I am there. I'm just playing with the technology. Neil at epicactivation.co.uk. Ask me any questions and I will hopefully answer those either privately, or what would be great is if I can answer them here. So that's where we are with that. So yes, feel free. I'm now staring at the chats. So if anyone wants to comment, I'll see it come up there. So that'd be great. So today, what am I talking about? We're going to talk about the top end of a promotion. So once someone has bought a product, has gone home or gone back to their car, whatever, on their phone, and they are visiting a microsite for the first time. This is the first point where your brand has held on to their attention for longer than 5 seconds, pulling the product in the basket. So you're increasing the brand memory structures for longer, which is fantastic to have. There's so many brands out there, so many people with so much going on in their lives. If you've got them for a few minutes to enter their details, enter a competition, that's great. That's fantastic. So what we're going to talk about is the top end. When you first go to the site, we're going to talk about data capture, marketing questions, and opt-in information, because this is generally the first part of the campaign. So data capture, understanding what to collect, what information is too much, what information is too little. Do we need to collect addresses? Various different responses to that, email addresses, how that ties in with, say, generating unique codes that go on packs. So lots of interactive discussions on the best way to run a campaign. And obviously marketing questions and answers is quite key, and this is making me very thirsty. So we're going to start talking about data capture and when you first go to the site. So when you first go to a microsite, in fact, I should probably talk about that as well, which is usually a separate domain name. So it might be winwithbrandx.com, that could be bought separately, that you can advertise. Or it can actually be part of your main website with a branch out using subdomains. And if you're technical, you'll obviously understand what that is. You might want to redirect to another domain, or you might want to go to brandx.com/win prizes. And within that, you can have the promotional microsite. Now, one question which I wasn't planning to talk about today, which has just come up in my thoughts, is whether you have iframes or whether you have just the site as it is within the actual system. Now, that depends on who you're working with. If you're working with us, personally, we run the system for security reasons, and therefore we like the site to be on our set up so we can monitor it and take full responsibility should anything happen to your promotion. Iframes, there's some recent technical upgrades that cause problems as well. So to just run it through an iframe rather than redirecting. So there's quite a few issues to resolve around where the site is hosted, which, as I said, wasn't part of this conversation, and we'll address it at some point down the line. But you come to the website, however you come to it, either through the website, through the main branded website, or a newly created website, winwithbrandx.com. And you're presented usually with a landing page or the registration page straight away. So if it's a landing page, it's usually just going to say, win fantastic prizes, we're brilliant, click here to enter, and you're going to love it. Submit, and a submit button. So very limited content or actions other than just initial advertising, then taking you on to the registration and the next steps. Obviously, if you're an alcohol brand, you're going to need age gate. So you'll need to have the various ways of doing it. So people putting in their age and then accepting that they are over 18 years of age, ticking a box. So they proactively told you they are over 18. And therefore, that legally means that they are liable should they win, and they then therefore lied. And they can't basically say, oh, I didn't see that. They've physically gone and selected their date of birth illegally, maybe, to say that they are legitimate. So obviously all alcohol promotions and probably some other alcohol related brands will need that kind of entry point. So once you pass the actual landing page, if you have one, some people go straight into a registration form. You get the registration form. Now, this is usually data capture, enter all the information, and then submit your details, and then you go on to the juicy parts of have you won a prize or not, which we will cover in another session. So if you are running a promotion that is kind of like a one-off, or people may enter 3 or 4 times during the promotion, you usually have a separate registration page, and they just have to fill it in each time. You keep the content, the requirements down to a minimum, and then you get them to fill that in as a one-off. And if they enter 3 times, then they just have to fill it in 3 times. If you're running a loyalty scheme or collector scheme where you are encouraging them to collect 10 tokens over a period of a month or whatever, or 20 tokens, or keep collecting, then you might want to consider a registration, but one where that sets up an account for that person. So once they've added their details, they then just have the option of just logging in when they next come to the site. So that might just be email and password that they set up when they first registered. So if you've got that kind of campaign, you would have registration on one side and login on the other side. If you don't have that, and you're just capturing people's data as and when, and they're allowed to enter 3 or 4 times during the period, you would go straight into a simple registration. That's not registering for an account, that's registering just to enter to play. So that might be things like name, which is obvious, need to have someone's name. Email address, very important. Even more important if you're giving away things like e-vouchers. So if you're sending anything via email, like a code, love to shop vouchers or whatever else other vouchers are out there, then nice plug for love to shop, very, very popular prizes. And then basically the email address that they've added will be the email address the voucher is then sent to. So that starts to limit how many fraudulent claims people can make. We'll talk about that shortly, actually, but obviously it makes common sense to have an email address, so you can communicate with the winners and even the losers if they opt in, which we're coming on to as well, but also great data capture for the consumers for future marketing activities. Mobile numbers, it all kind of ties in. If you cannot have, and I've got a new button here, so I'm very excited about this. So tip 1, okay, here we go. It's not seamless, this, but I'm trying to find it. Where's it gone? Oh no, terrible, it's gone, disappeared. There you go. There you go. Try to have unique codes. As that wasn't actually the one I was showing you. I was going to show you this one. Capture mobile numbers if you are unable to have unique codes. So we'll get on to unique codes in a minute. But the reason being is that if you haven't got unique codes, I'm kind of doing this the wrong way around, but if you haven't got unique codes, having a mobile number is a way of identifying the person and limiting how many times they enter. So we'll come back to that, because what I'm going to talk about is unique codes. Unique codes are a fantastic way of entering a promotion, and from the brand to help with the security, and also for the consumer to feel important that they've got the special ticket to enter and a better chance of winning prizes maybe. So unique codes, basically, they get generated. We do that obviously here. That then gets sent off to the printers of the packaging, who then hopefully can print the unique codes on pack. So when people enter a promotion, they enter their unique code, which is great. It's a one-time use code. Maybe you allow for two entries. On the whole, if you're generating unique codes, it's 1 entry per purchase, which means that you get the sales figures up when people want to enter. There's no way to get around it. They can't enter multiple email addresses, which we're going to talk about in a minute. There's a lot we're talking about in a minute. What am I talking about now? Security questions as well. So the unique codes are vital if you really want 100%, well, it's never 100%, but a high level of security, one entry per unique code, that if someone tries to enter it again or passes on to someone else, they can't enter it. It says, sorry, this code has been used. Now, some issues arise where it's very expensive to print codes on packs. Sometimes it is impossible, so that's why we look at other ways. But if you can print codes on pack, depending on the way you are running the campaign, you might want to look to have the code on the inside of the pack. If you're taking out fixed fee insurance, for example, and that's a section for another day, the insurance company may insist that the code is inside the pack. So there's no possibility of fraudulent claims with people taking photos of lots of codes on shelf and then running off entering those codes. Not only that would that be a problem, but obviously if someone genuinely buys the pack and tries to enter that code, it's going to say that code is not valid. So you're going to get unhappy customers. So it depends the ease of having the codes inside the pack. But that doesn't mean you can't do it. And it depends where the code is, how visible the code is, depends on how much fraudulent activity. I don't like to talk about fraud too much because obviously this is positive and promotions are great, but there's a reality that every promotion, people will try it on. And what we do here at Epic is just put in lots of measures to try and limit the fraudulent activity. And there's lots of tips and tricks on how to do that. Which brings me on to the wonderful capturing mobile numbers. So, for example, if you can't have unique codes, something like a mobile number is great. It's unique to you. We can then use the mobile number in the same way that we use a unique code. It is a unique code to you. Whether someone then decides, and this is the tips and tricks for the fraudulent plays as well, to put in a friend's mobile number or their brother's or partner's mobile number, that's a loophole that people may try to get through. But what you're doing is potentially limiting, well, significantly limiting the amount of entries people could just fire off. Because if you're then following up with a phone call, telling someone they've won a prize and capturing their information to send the prize, they need to make sure that whatever number they put in, they at least know the person. So it's not just random numbers or robots putting numbers in where they're never going to win a prize. So mobile number is high on my list of ultimate tips for running a campaign when you haven't got a unique code on pack. Just to throw in there, also quite common, I saw this with another promotion recently, is having a peel back label. So you've got to look at your printing costs. Is it easier to stick a label on a pack than actually changing the print run? And where then you peel back the sticker and there is a code on there. Again, people can try and rip all the codes off on the packs. If they're on the back, is a consumer going to go in, grab the pack, peel off the sticker, then take it? There are all these little blockers that help avoid fraudulent activity. Ultimately, if you can get a unique code on pack, that is fantastic. And we actually have partners who I'm looking to get on to join me at some point, who put packs on codes on packs all year round. So if you're running multiple campaigns, 3, 4, 5 a year, it's worth discussing that with me because you can get codes on packs that then doesn't cost you each time. And the benefits of that is you can switch them on and off and make them active whenever you want. So if you run regular promotions, want to have codes, definitely get in touch. Time to click another button, and you can click by email me while you're studying my email address. I'm going to have another drink. So mobile phone numbers is great. Unique codes is fantastic. If you can't do any of those, you've also got the option of batch codes. Now, batch codes are on packs, as most marketers know. If you're in the industry. They are the time and date that the packaging is printed, and they can be used also as a blocker to help people separate the constant fraudulent claims when they've actually got to go and put in a valid batch code. For those of you shouting out at me, yes, they are not unique. So people can use that batch code multiple times, but at least you give them a thought that they've got to go and find that, and they've got to go and find that code on Facebook where someone's posted, hey, just enter this code. So it's not ideal, but it's another route to play. Some brands, for example, don't actually mind. So they might say, put your batch code in, but actually we don't really mind if they have a code or not. We just want to make the promotion really easy for people to enter. And we don't want any customer complaints. We don't want to stop anyone doing it. We just want high numbers. But let's put a batch code in so you don't get a robot that's plugging away or someone who does nothing. So batch codes are quite good. And under certain circumstances, for longer campaigns, there's a way to continuously upload new batch codes as they are printed when we know they're going to be on shelves. So it gets a bit complicated, but that's possible to, again, block non-valid batch codes at any time. So we then get on to things like postal addresses. Let's just have a look. Has anyone got any comments? Nothing at the moment, and that's absolutely fine. Please just put a thumbs up or say something if you would like, if you are enjoying what you are seeing, even if it's not a question. So we're on to addresses. Do we need addresses? Of course, it sounds fantastic for the brand to just have thousands of consumer data and all their addresses. One, you put people off entering because they don't want to give so much information away. Two, it's going to take a lot longer to add their details to then find out they haven't won a prize. And basically, you're putting the blockers up for no particular reason. If you're giving away physical prizes, and there aren't many of them, then that's a sort of another nugget of information. Do I have a banner for that? Kind of. Only capture addresses if you need to. So one clever way of doing this is if you run a promotion and you capture the minimum information and you're sending out a Bluetooth speaker to their home address. Once they enter the competition and they say, congratulations, you've won, you then present them with an email, with an address form to fill in. It's not rocket science, makes sense, hey? So they then are happy, they've won a prize, you've told them they've won a prize, you will get your Bluetooth speaker within 28 days of the moment you have submitted your address. Fantastic, they're going to fill in their address. You basically capture all the information you need to fulfill the prize without bombarding people when they haven't necessarily won the prize. That's great customer service, that's a great customer experience. So congratulations, you won a prize. If it's a postal prize, present them with a registration for their address. The last campaign we did had a 95% success rate of people adding their address. So you'll always get a few, you'll always have to chase up with a couple of people saying, hey, you didn't supply an address. That's the nice way to do it. The not so nice way to do it is in the T's and C's on line 5224 to say if you don't provide your address, you will forfeit your prize. So, and they may not see that, may not get that, and then contact you in a month's time saying, hey, where's my prize? And then someone sadly has to say, you haven't got it because you didn't fill in your address. So the rules are the rules, but you haven't got great customer service and a great relationship with that person. And they're likely to moan on social media. And so when a customer is always right, they often aren't, but they are right in their eyes and they will have a moan on social media. So you have to consider those factors to make sure that you can try and fulfill those prizes so they are all happy with that. So that's the way around postal addresses. So we then come on to relating to unique codes, you've got different SKUs and you've got marketing questions. So sort of combining those two together, you might get a product that has different flavors. So it might have 5 flavors of a certain drink, for example. What you might want to do is separate your codes, if you can, and put different codes on different products. You might want to put different codes on different products that go into retailers, which basically means if you're then capturing consumer data, we don't have to ask, where did you buy your product or which flavor did you buy? We know by the unique code that they've entered that they bought it in Tesco, for example, and it's the strawberry flavor. And we don't need to waste their time, the consumer's time, asking those questions if we are able to separate the codes with the SKUs. So that's a very good way to capture data, how many products are purchased, and what flavors are purchased, what retailers, without the consumer having to do anything other than putting in their unique code. So coming on to marketing questions, you can ask as many as you like, but we suggest 2 or 3. You don't want to bombard people. Next one, there you go, I'm getting the hang of this. You don't want to bombard people with questions. You don't want to ask them, give us a 50-word account of why you bought this product. People don't care. Now, I'm new to this. Compass News. There you go. I love it. I love it. For those of you who don't know, and I presume most of you do, useful information in here, let's go that way, about things going on and prizes won. And then halfway through, you basically get lots of information, can you see that, on what prizes are, what brands are running what prizes, when the closing dates are, what the prizes are, the type of prizes, the entry mechanism, the notes to accompany it. And basically, they're broken up into different categories. And you'll get where I'm going with this because I've gone off on a tangent. Oop, and we've lost my lighting and my imaging on my screen at the moment, which is strange. We'll come back to that. So competition, purchase needed, that says. So promotions where you need to make a purchase. And there's also promotions where you've got free prize draws. You can see that under my hand. Free prize draws, and then you've got promotions that are entry forms, and what's the one I like? The one that basically says effort needed. That made me laugh. It's disappeared. You've got effort needed, and my screen's cleared, so that's good. Effort needed. I love that. So promotions that specifically you have to make an effort to win the prize. The upside is hopefully the prizes are of bigger value, and the upside is hopefully not as many people will enter because they can't be bothered. So they're the ones to say, hey, I'm going to spend a bit more time on this promotion and hopefully I'm going to win a prize. There's a lot of interesting stuff from Compass News. So if you don't have it, I suggest you have a look at it. Very good. So marketing questions. Yeah, you don't want to ask lots of detailed things unless you are purposely trying to have an effort needed promotion. So you've got great prizes where the consumer thinks, you know what, for the holiday to Barbados, I'm going to fill in the 50 words. On the whole, you are going to have 2 or 3 questions. Why did you buy that flavor? Which flavor did you buy if you haven't got that from the SKU? Or how often do you buy? Because you can't capture that information any other way. How often do you buy is quite common. Anything that will help you, marketers, run campaigns in the future. And potentially, if they opt in, you can then target those specific people when they say, I absolutely love the strawberry flavor. It's the best of the lot. Then you can then target them for future marketing activities. So that's trying to get more benefit of a campaign, not just running the sales. It's creating questions that you can then use down the line. We ran a campaign talking about opt-in now. Obviously, they can answer these questions, which is useful for you to do your research and understanding of the customer. But obviously, if you want to send them information, then you need to have their opt-in. Now, unless you've been living under a rock for the last couple of years, GDPR means that you can't just send them loads of information once they have participated. Plus, they need to know that they are on your database. So what you have to do is actively, and I presume everyone knows this, but just to cover this point, you have to click an opt-in button to opt in. You can't have click here to opt out. You have to proactively have them opt in. Otherwise, it is an illegal campaign and you cannot run and contact them. So we ran a campaign a few years ago and they had no information, no data, no consumer data. It was for a cider company. They had 29,000 entries, 29. I think I mentioned this last week actually on my stream. I can't get over this. They were so happy. 29,000 entries and they had 24,000 people opt in. That's 24,000 people who want to hear from the brand, who want to receive offers, who want to hear where the new product development is, where it's going, and to get involved. How brilliant is that for a campaign? It's like amazing. So they were over the moon. Any other figures, sales figures, prizes, interactions on social media, they didn't care. They got what they wanted, which was the opt-in data. So that was fantastic. So they're very happy with that. So that's pretty much the opt-in, the reasons for it, the discussion about entries, mobile numbers. We've touched on security as well. People talk about how many entries per campaign. Again, it depends on what the product is. If it's a product that's consumed 10 times a week, to limit them to once a week is pretty harsh. If you've got a unique code on pack, as I said, the best way possible, then you can say, right, it's unlimited. If you buy a pack, you can enter. If you don't do that, then there is a danger of fraudulent activities. And as I said, there are people that will do what they do. People who read Compass News. They are wonderful people. It's their hobbies. They go on about winning prizes all the time. And it's fantastic. Most of them are genuine. They just want to win the prize and it is their hobby. But you will get a proportion of people that will try everything. So we've had people who are entering multiple phone numbers with different ending points. And then obviously, if you aren't using a mobile number as a way to contact the person, then you can, then there's a problem because they're entering lots of times. Now we can see that in the system and share that with the clients that this person's clearly just entering ridiculous amount of times. Whether you give them a prize or not is then debatable for image, brand image. And obviously, if you're giving them an instant win prize, certainly with something like an e-voucher, then they are going to get that email relatively quickly. So you can't really block them. So you have to find other ways, and things like the email address combined with the mobile number is very good. And there are certain ways around it. So any questions about that, please do let me know when you are looking to run your next campaign. So I did have a question, preempting that I have no questions at all coming through here, which is absolutely fine. I did manage to get a question out of someone who I work with. It sort of came up in a conversation. So it was a genuine question. And I sort of said, can I use that for my live stream? So they said, absolutely. It was actually through an agency. They said, can I use the marketing answers to determine what prizes are won? The answer is yes, you can. So as long as it's clear in the terms and conditions, you can set up different routes to entry depending on questions in the marketing. It could be related to the SKU, it could be relating to the marketing questions. As long as you're clear about it, that people that, if you don't have the SKUs and you don't know where they bought it from, if it's if you've asked, where did you buy the product? And they say Tesco. If you're a Tesco a customer and bought your product there, you can go off and do something else or into a prize pool. You might win more prizes. You might also, I'm in discussion with a company at the moment where you might be a member of part of a membership loyalty platform separate to this promotion. So what we can then do is potentially get them to put in a membership number where we then talk to their system, pull that information in, and if our system records them as a valid member of this loyalty platform, then you can put them into a different prize pool. So the prizes might be 10 times the price if you weren't. So that's a great way to encourage people to sign up to become a member of your club or group or whatever loyalty platform, because that could be one of the benefits. When you then play a promotion, you have extra ways to win prizes, maybe more chances, maybe higher value. So marketing answers to determine, yes, so that if the marketing answer question is about the retailer, for example, because we haven't got that through the SKU, then that is a marketing question and you can do what you want. If you, it might be to do with age. So the prize pool might be dependent on age. So if you put in, did I do another one? Capture number. I did do another banner. I think I'm going to have to get a bit smoother with this. I think this was it. The fixed, yeah, the drop down fixed answers was on the screen. When you're capturing data, you want to make it simple for the consumer, however many questions you have. So you might have a drop down that says, how old are you? Now, you don't want a free text field because you'll get all this data in. People will probably put swear words in or anything they want to because they think it's very funny. And you can't analyze that. So what you want to do is, what age bracket are you in? 18 to 24, 25 to 34, 35, etc., etc. When that data then is fed through, any good system should then have pie charts, bar charts showing you the breakdown of the age. If you're giving away prizes, depending on that, you might want to give away a skydiving prize to the 18 to 24-year-olds and potentially not to the 65 plus. Not saying 65 plus year olds don't skydive, they're usually the best ones of the lot. But on the whole, you want to have prizes related to the age group and the demographic of that person. So if people answer that, then you can direct people. A few years ago, we ran a promotion for a wine company, and the prizes were trips abroad to hot countries and whatever. The marketing questions were set up to decide which prizes could be won. So basically it said, are you a chilled out person? Do you like relaxing? If they answered that and then went through and happened to win separately, happened to win a winning moment competition, hey, you won the Star Prize, it would say, right, you answered this. We're going to give you 2 weeks in the Bahamas as your holiday. If you answered, I love adventurous holidays, you might win a week in Iceland climbing the volcanic mountains. I'm sure there's what do? They do the buggy cart rate driving up the volcanoes and everything else. We have partners that sort out prizes and holidays, by the way. So the prize would be related to the answer to the marketing question. So that's very important to know. So even if the marketing information is not specifically for the purpose to move forward, it might be very useful for the actual competition page you are on, you are experiencing at the moment. So that's pretty much it on the, I'm sure there will be more. And when I come back, I'll probably, after this, I'll reflect on other things to talk about and data capture, marketing, opt-in data. But ultimately, that is the entry point that people first go into. It's fantastic to capture that data. It's fantastic to, obviously, you give people the chance to opt in and opt out, but it's great when they opt in and people actually want to associate with your brand. keep the content requirements down to a minimum. Addresses only if you need them to send physical stuff out. Obviously, if you want addresses because your marketing is generally by post, then yes, maybe you need to collect need to collect addresses. So let's get rid of that fuzz on the back of my screen if I can. So basically, yeah, if you need to, there's no hard and fast rule. It's just a guide. So you've got to look at your objectives of your campaign. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to collect consumer information? Are you trying to collect opt-in data? That is the key to this side of it. Getting the marketing questions, getting the consumers in, but don't bombard them. And then once all that form has been filled in, once your data has been captured, you're going to click a button, submit, and we're going to come on to the fun part, which is the prizes. Now that's going to be for our next session, I'm sure. We will move down from the data capture. We will talk about prizes. We will talk about winning moments / instant win, prize draws, all that fantastic. That's my favorite session of the lot because that's where it gets fun to give away prizes. And then we will continue like that. So I hope that was useful. I hope I haven't waffled too much. Technology wasn't too bad, apart from my inability to click on banners when I need to. If you want to book a call with me, you can do that. That's a discovery workshop, free of charge, just a half an hour chat, understand your objectives, give you a few tips, what you're looking to achieve, what you're trying to do, what might work, what won't work. Be great to work with you. If not, that's fine as well. But there are sessions available on there still to book me in. It's a great system, sends emails out, reminds you that we're doing the session. So please feel free. If not, also just email me, Neil at epicactivation.co.uk. And that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Really enjoyed today's session. I hope it's not been too tedious for you all. You can run forward and back and enjoy, listen over to anything that I've said and ask those questions. Thank you so much. Please leave feedback. If you've seen this, that would be really helpful for me personally to see how it's going. Any tips, tricks that you have, then I'm always open ears and ready to listen. So thank you very much. Have a good rest of the week and yeah, enjoy the weekend.